Hey, what's up, everybody, and welcome to In the Studio with Rob. I am Rob, and I just want to welcome everybody to my first podcast, my first episode, and let you kind of give you a little insight on what I'm going to be talking about, things I'm going to be sharing. I got a lot of, I've been on this earth for a long time now. Some say too long. I joke, but I just want to share some of the experiences that I've had over the years, good and bad. I'm not shy about my bad experiences or as far as sharing. So I'm going to share those as well. Share some good things. I want to be able to, because I want to be able to help young people. I want to be able to help, those brothers, young brothers that don't have any guidance in the home or and they're looking to the outside, because I was once one of those kids as well, looking to find guidance from the wrong places and not really having mentors and that could really help me grow into who I needed to be. But by the grace of God, I survived, and I want to make sure I can give back a little bit. I want to mentor, as I've been doing over the years with individuals. It's given me a kind of opportunity to mentor on a larger scale, to help not just young men, but also young women as well, and couples. My wife and I have done a lot in marriage fellowships, and run a marriage fellowship. So, I want to also help in that area as well. I want to just be able to relive some of the things that I've experienced, things I've shared with my children. I've told my boys over the year, I always try to get them to think critically. And, one of the things I wanted them to know is, it's not about the first thing that happens if you do something, but think down the line of what else could happen, good and bad. Critical thinking, I think a lot of times it gets a bad rap because people think, oh, it's always negative. No, critical thinking can put you in trouble or keep you out of trouble for the good, or make you step up to the plate to experience some really good things, but also keep you out of trouble. So I want to make sure that, we talk about critical thinking, talk about mentorship, what it is and what it isn't to me. So we're going to talk about going from a boy to a man, and I'm not even putting an age on it, because I've met a lot of brothers my age that still need a lot of mentoring and still need to grow up. We're going to talk about that a little bit. We're going to talk about relationships from the female perspective. Even I'm going to give you my insight as your uncle, a father figure, that would say, some of the things that these young girls are saying, doing, putting out in public, and wondering why things aren't working out for them. I'm going to be talking about those things, and I'm going to try to help you understand that, there's a better way. There's, a way relationships should work. A lot of young men don't understand how to even talk to girls or young ladies anymore. When I was young, we used to practice in the mirror. At least I did. Hey, this is my rap. I gotta come up with my rap. In the background, you hear my sidekick, my young buck, my son. He's gonna be helping me out and keeping me on track and kind of keeping the conversation flowing, so that I can say things if I forget something, or maybe there's a question throughout what I'm saying that could help bring everything into focus a little clearer.
Speaking of questions.
All right, question. Here's the first one.
Can you run us through one of your mirror experiences?
Let
us say one of them.
All right. And again, one of my mirror experiences, and this started probably 12 years old, maybe.
What's the last one?
No, I haven't had any since I was a teenager. I'm talking about like 16.
All right, I need the 16-year-old one.
Yeah, all right. So 16. I grew up in South Carolina. So Columbia wasn't the country. So I know a lot of people that don't visit anywhere or get out of their neighborhood don't know that what every place is in the South. So anyway, where we would go to skating rings or to parties and different things. And so what I would do, in preparation of meeting a young lady or hoping to meet somebody, I want to practice in the mirror. I don't want to go out there and look like I'm stupid, town.
Get to the line, sir. What did you say?
I mean, the lines was all the same. I mean, for the most part, it's really about building your confidence. But I know I'm going to ask you your name. Back then, you.
No, not what I'm gonna do. I need your mirror. This is your mirror, right?
This is my mirror. All right.
That's your mirror.
So again, we in the skating ring or we at the party or whatever. So I'm gonna walk up and I'll be like, hey, what's going on? How you doing? My name's Robert. What's your name? And she tell me her name. I'm like, okay, so you live around here? Are you from this area? Where you from? And she'll tell me, or she wouldn't. And again, if she's not gonna tell me, or if it seems like she ain't really that interested from the door, then I'm gonna try to make you smile or something. So I might tell you, it's looking nice tonight, or I may even say a joke or something. I mean, depending on, and I can't give you a joke right now because the joke is something spontaneous, so I can't give you a joke. But again, so I'm trying to relax her from being in this, the state of, oh my God, another guy coming up to me and whatever. So I'm trying to relax her. So again,
nice.
so I'm doing that, and so eventually I'm asking the questions, your name, your sign, because we were back, in the 80s. In the 80s, you got to ask, what's your sign, So you tell her your sign or whatever. And so then, I ask her to dance, or, if she don't want to dance, maybe I say, well, can I stand here and just talk to you for a little bit? Can we just, talk it up? So, so whatever, to me, whatever direction, the conversation was always going to go in the direction that the young lady was going. Because again, for me, I took it was always a challenge. And as I got older, I understood the challenge even more. It's like, I want to make sure that you understood that I think you're special, but it's also a challenge in that I don't want to fail. I don't want you to say no. I think I can convince you to say yes, to go out with me, to be my friend, or whatever the case may be. Mm-hmm. But what I've noticed is that young men don't do that anymore. They don't accept the challenge as men, as young boy, to say, I am a conqueror. I am worth her taking the time to talk to me. So what we're going to do throughout this time that we have together, over however long this podcast lasts, we're going to kind of develop some of those things, help young men understand that you are the one that she wants. But you need to know that she wants you. That confidence has to be built up. And then again, failed many times. Many girls, they weren't interested. That's okay. Move to the next one because I got confidence.
Staring in the mirror, talking to yourself in the mirror.
Again, because maybe it did work. So I had to brush it up. Like, yo. But what I realized, especially as I got older, is that it was about confidence more than anything else. And when I was younger, I didn't have the same confidence I had as I grew. Again, different things, different challenges, different experiences give you confidence. You survive certain things, you get more confidence. You go through good relationships, bad relationships, you gain more confidence surviving those things. So again, confidence is huge as a young man trying to determine how I want to, how I address women and how I need to address them. But the one thing I'm always going to do is I'm going to treat them with respect. And I think it's hugely important is that you always treat your young ladies with respect. And for the young ladies as well, treat the men with respect. People talk about, you get what you give. No, you give respect regardless. Give respect. Even if you don't want nothing to do with me, that's fine. That's your right. But I don't have to be disrespectful because of that. And one thing I learned as I got older in the bars and clubs and different things is that I could be talking to a young lady and she'd be like, nah, I ain't interested, whatever. And I'd be like, all right, cool, have a nice evening, whatever. I'm going to be respectful and walk away. But what it did was it also played because somebody else was watching. So now I got some other young lady coming up to me because I was the nice guy, the respectful guy, and how I interacted. So it always plays out, in the long run for your benefit if you're going to be respectful, kind to people. So always try to do that first and foremost. But one of the things I'm also, I want to do is make sure we kind of, talk through and talk about the respect that ladies, not only that you do, but also that you owe yourself. And, I have daughters as well. And so, it's about the respect you owe yourself. Because if you don't respect you, it's kind of hard to get other people to kind of respect you as well. So you have to be careful on what you put out into the world and what you put out into people so that you don't get negativity. And again, some people are just going to be nasty no matter what. There's nothing we can do about that. However, I'm not going to help you, or I'm not going to give you the ammunition to be nasty to me because of how I dressed or how I carried myself or how I talk to you or talk to other people, and now everybody coming at me. So again, I know from the door, whenever you do a podcast or you put yourself out there into the public, you're gonna have critics. You're gonna have people that say, "Oh, you shouldn't," or why you say it that way. I get that. I'm not gonna say everything that's gonna be politically correct. I'm not a politician. So therefore, some of the things I'm going to say is going to hit you right in your heart, hit you right in your mouth. And you may or may not agree. And if you don't agree, it's okay. Everything I've heard over the years, I don't agree with. Doesn't mean I didn't learn from it. I mean, I agree, but I still learn. I can learn from the good and the bad. So I hope for you that you learn from good and the bad. And you take it, you dissect and do more research on anything that I'm saying and talk to more people that you're close to kind of get more information before you make any hard, critical decisions for yourself.
So, as a man of the people, I have to ask.
Man of the people.
Is this going to be one of those podcasts where the old man tells the young people that we're not doing what they used to do back in the day and blah, blah, blah?
It's going to be, I am going to tell you you're not doing what we did back in the day. Mm-hmm. Doesn't mean you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. Okay. And see, my thing is, I'm more about responsibility. And I believe that when young people fail, it's not just their failure. It's also responsibility of their parents, probably their grandparents, uncles, aunts. All those different people play a role into the failure. So therefore, it's about responsibility. So I'm going to point toward responsibility more so than just saying what we did in the 80s and the 90s was right. It wasn't always right. We did the best we could with what we knew. And then hopefully your generation and the generations to come have more information so you do a better job. Now, you could be failing yourself because you're not using the information that you have in order to get better. If I always tell my kids, and you know this, is that if I ran into the wall and I tell you there's a wall right there, why would you run into the wall? Now, you got a choice to make. I'm telling you it's a wall there because I hit my head on that wall. I got the scars to show you where that wall hurt me. You decided because of your hard-headedness or your rebellion that you're going to run into the same wall. Now, that ain't my fault. I'm not even feeling bad that you ran into that wall. That's me personally. I don't feel bad that you ran into the wall because I still know that my child, and he may have a hard head, but
I don't say he. That sounds way too specific.
Yeah, it's specific. so he may have a hard head, but at the same time, he's also smart enough to not run into it twice. So some of us have to learn from our own mistakes and run into that wall, and that's okay. But don't run into the same wall twice. Don't. And if you're really smart, or if you really want to be a forward thinker, it's like, I'm going to not even run into the wall because I've already seen how many people ran into that wall. My granddaddy ran into the wall. My daddy ran into the wall. My uncles and aunts, they all ran into the wall.
That's right. Pops was the first Jay-Z. Hope did that, so hopefully you don't have to go through that.
Yeah, so hopefully y'all won't.
Everybody stop running into these walls.
Yeah, don't stop running into walls. Stop running into walls. But we're going to talk about some walls. We're going to talk about some walls I ran into. We're going to talk about some walls that you can avoid because I ran into them. But we can also talk about what happens when you run into walls. Because one of the things I also want you to understand is that you have to be resilient. Life is about failing. You're going to fail in life. You're not going to wake up every day and succeed. You're going to have failures throughout your life. You're going to have setbacks to everything you try. It's okay. But we're going to talk about how you pick yourself up, dust yourself off, find a new path, and keep it moving. I think it's too many times where we talk, people talk, and we have these conversations where people turn themselves into victims, or they turn themselves into, oh, I'm so depressed because this. Okay, we're going to get out of that. And sometimes there's chemical balances that causes a lot of emotional issues, and I get that. But some of those things are the way we think. And if we can change our mindset and expect for us to fail sometime, expect that it's not going to always go right, expect that I'm going to make some bad choices. I've made bad choices in my life, but ultimately, from learning from those bad choices, I've grown, and my children and hopefully their children will be better off for it. But if I would have stayed in the bad choice I made, then I'm making it even worse. So we're not going to stay in the situation because we messed it up and just say, oh, well, God, I don't know what I'm going to do. You got to do something. And the first thing is to get up. So hopefully I'm going to be able to, we'll inspire you to get up and keep trying. We're going to talk about parenting, because I got some nieces that are working in the school systems. All my children, for the older children, they have kids, and one thing I'm noticing, and not necessarily from my kids, but and not to say not from my kids, but young people don't want to parent their children anymore. You want to give them so much freedom to figure things out that they shouldn't be allowed or shouldn't have to figure out yet. There's going to come a time where we ain't going to listen to you anyway. So for the time that you have where they are listening to you, then tell them things, instruct them, show them how to do certain things. Don't let your 12, 13-year-old kid come in the house with new pair of sneakers and you ain't give them no money without questioning, hey, where this come from? What's going on with this? That's parenting. That's
an important question, because when my child walks in with a pair of sneakers, why don't I have a pair?
Why?
I've been buying that child sneakers for 12 years. Not once did they buy me a pair. That's important. I don't know if you were going there.
I wasn't going there because you never bought me a pair of sneakers. So, until lately, it's so.
You were Iverson in my previous sneakers.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So
you go and do your thing.
Yeah.
We in the studio with you.
All right. So yeah. So I ain't saying your kids need to buy you some sneakers, but you need to know where your kids getting sneakers from. And if they bring in things, kids don't go to school or they truancy and all of this. Why don't you know? How many of you fathers, mothers go to your child's school, and actually talk to the teachers, find out about their grades, let the teacher know that, I got your back. I sent my child here to learn. I sent my kids, they were in private school for a while, they went public school. I went to the schools. And I didn't just go to the school just to let the teacher know, hey, my kid act up, let me know. But also so that my kid know I'm invested into their education. Financially, I'm invested, but also I'm invested because I want you to learn, and I want you to be able to be of value to yourself and your family going forward. And I understand that education is a big part of that. So we're going to talk about parenting. We want to hit that up really hard. And again, I think I'm going to make a lot of people upset in different ways that we touch on that. Because again, I think the challenges that our kids are having is not our kids' fault. Ultimately, it falls on the parents and the adults in their lives. And when I say parents, I'm not just talking about mom and dad, because some people, mom is not around or dad not around. But if you raising a child, or you have impact in a child's life, then you need to make sure that you are there for that child. Or because you can't play it in the middle, like, well, I feed them. I make sure they get everything they need. That's great that you feed them. But it ain't about just feeding that child. It's about making sure that child has what he or she needs in order to, and when I'm saying what he or she needs, I'm talking about the discipline. I'm talking about the direction, the guidance, the love, the support, those things that they need to grow and to be better. So those are some things we're going to delve into really hard. And like I said, when I talk about things you may not like about me saying or how I say it, that may be some. I got a niece who always, we talk and, she'll say something. She'll, Uncle Robert, why you say it like that? Because I want you to understand. So some of the things I say, will be as direct as I say it to my kids, because I want you all to understand. And even for you adults, you grown people that's out here acting like you're 12, we're gonna talk about that too. We're gonna have some real conversations. And again, this is one of those things where I think you should enjoy it for the most part. I mean, again, we're gonna have some fun. We're gonna try to laugh a little bit. We're gonna try to say some things, that isn't just hitting you over the head with, hey, you're not doing this right. But because it's not about the failures. Like I said, we all fail. We all gonna make mistakes. But it's about how are we uplifting each other. I want to uplift you all, and just so you know, ultimately, my life and the things that I say and how it comes off is rooted in my relationship with Christ. Now, that being said, I believe Christ directs us and gives us instruction on how to live our life. We choose to think our plan is better than his sometimes. But ultimately, I'm not going to be telling you about the Bible. I'm not a preacher. I'm not trying to get, quote scriptures to you. But I am telling you so that you know ahead of time that that's where my foundation is. And God has brought me through a whole lot. A lot of things that I shouldn't have been brought through, a lot of failures that he helped me to overcome. And so I am grateful, and I understand the grace and the mercy of God. So with that grace and mercy, I want to bestow some of the things that he has allowed me to go through and learn back to the people, back to you, so that you can grow and so that you can have the joy that you need, the peace that you need in your life. Just retired after over 35 years in the government, and a lot of different things I've learned over the years. I'm going to talk about leadership as well, because working in the government all those years, one thing I saw was a lot of bad leaders. Saw some good ones, but I saw a lot of bad leaders. We're going to talk about leadership too, because as some of you are going into leadership, you need to understand what that is as well. And it ain't about you. So again, and we may even delve a little bit into talking about leadership in churches and what churches are and what they aren't right now. Again, from my perspective. So again, if you're a pastor or somewhere and you say, oh, he's trying to bring that. No, I'm not. I go to church. I love church. I think we all need a connection with Christ. So I'm not trying to dispute that. But I also.
But his number is 616.
Yeah. So call me if you need me. But but I will say this: we need young men and men in church, and not thinking that church is that emotional place that I go when I'm upset or where I need to shout. Church is more about it. When I say church, God was telling us to think, renew your mind. He was telling us to do what I say. Those are not emotional things. Those are things that we are directed to do, whether we like it or not. So church sometimes gets so emotional that a lot of young people, young men, stay away from. And I don't want you young men to stay away from it, because I think it's more than that emotional state. But also the people running church is going to have to understand we need young men in the church, and you can't just make this about the women in the church and trying to get everybody all emotional. But we're going to talk about that at a later date. That's the topic we're really going to hit up. Because I believe young men should be coming back into the church, young people overall, but definitely young men. And they shouldn't look at the Muslims like, oh, that's how you be a strong black man being a Muslim. No, brothers, we strong Christian men as well. Look, ain't nothing punkish about me. Anybody know me know that. I ain't soft, ain't in no way. However, I do understand that sometimes we can get caught up into what we perceive or what we've seen from certain people about church and God and make people think that God somehow became soft. Not the case. So,
sir, the people have questions.
It's okay.
So, you mentioned being married. We need to know some of your credentials. Why are we listening to you? What experiences do you have? How long you been married, sir?
I've been married for 26 years.
That's crazy.
And I can't say I had a failed marriage as well. So, like I said, you learn from your failures. You have failures, you learn from, and one of the things I had the opportunity to do was apologize to my first wife, and I apologized to her for our marriage failing, because that was on me. Not to say I did everything wrong or she did everything, not about fault, but it was on me because as the man, it was my responsibility to fix it. And I didn't know how, and I didn't know who to look for, and I didn't look for anybody to help me fix it. So that was on me. So,
You also mentioned military. I think.
I really
didn't. The government.
I didn't. Yes.
So tell us about that. Tell us about your VA experience.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that stem from somewhere.
So I served in the Army. So I went when I got out the Army, I started working for the Department of Veterans Affairs. Accident, didn't plan on going there. I had no clue about a lot of things. I was young. I got out the Army, I was 26 years old. And the funny part was, I thought when I got out, I was like, if I could make $30,000 a year, I'll be good. I didn't realize how little $30,000 was at the time, but that's what I thought. If I can get $30,000 a year, I'll be good. However, I didn't know how I was going to get $30,000 because I didn't really have a plan. I just got out because I said, I'm tired of the so-called people telling me what to do. Didn't realize people were going to tell me what to do for the rest of my working career. But anyway, I got out and that's what I said. However, I was, got out. I was in Philadelphia, and my father wanted me to get a job working for the company he worked for. He worked for SEPTA, and he wanted me. He was like, yo, you can work for us. You can be. They had a police department. Police department, I think they started at 35. I was like, cool, that worked for me. So I'm young.
Be a cop?
Yeah, I'm young. I'm 26 years old, young. Just got out the Army. I'm in great shape, playing ball every day. No, 1993. Right. So
mid 20s and the mid 70s.
So what happened was, I had to take the test. Took the test, scored well, and so they had a physical. So the physical was laughable to me at the time because, again, I was in great shape. I was like, yo, they wanted you to do, I forgot how many push-ups and do a run in like a mile and a half in like 18 minutes. I'm like, I can run that backwards. That was easy. So, however, I didn't take it serious, and again, my plan versus God's plan. So as I was getting ready, I had the run on a Thursday or Friday or something, but I go play ball because I played every night. So I went and played ball like I always do. Went to the gym playing ball. What happens? I twist my ankle. So I come in and, my dad saw it. He was like, yo, man, what is wrong with you? He going up ballistic. I'm like, I'm good. I'll just tape it up.
Southern ballistic too for the people. Yeah. That's Southern ballistic.
Yeah. So I tape it up. I tape it up. I can handle this. It still ain't but a mile and a half. I can run that with an ankle swollen. Get out there. I fail to run by 3 seconds. He really upset. So anyway, I'm like, God, all right. So my thought was, okay, next time they do it. But they did it like, I think every 2 years or something. So I had a little wait. But what I had was going to the VA, because my ankle, I actually had an ankle injury in service too. I was going to the VA hospital. At least I thought I was going to go to the VA hospital so they could treat my ankle. Went to the VA regional office. Didn't know anything about a regional office. But I went in there. The guy told me, yo, this, he was like, this ain't no hospital, man. We don't have no doctor here. You got to go to the hospital. Okay, where's the hospital? Other side of town. So as we walking out the door, my dad yells back, yo, my son, he just came back from the war. Y'all ain't got no jobs. Guy was like, he came back from the war. Yeah, that's exactly what he said. That's what he said. So and my dad is off the chart. We're gonna talk about him a little bit too. But so the guy was like, I don't know, but you can fill out this application. Fine. Fill out the application. Left. Didn't think no more about. I didn't know what I was filling out for because it didn't say. It was just an application. So I filled the application out, gave it to them. About a week or two later, they called me and said, "Hey, you want an interview?" I said, "Interview for what?" "The VA." Okay. Again, I don't know what the VA does. I'm just like, I need a job. I was doing temporary welding. I was a welder, so had a temp job. So I'm like, all right, cool. Go in there, and the guy said, "Hey, we got a job. You could start." And I was like, "Oh, that easy? Oh, cool." And then he was telling me about the benefits. I got 3 little kids. I need some insurance. That's the biggest thing to me. I need insurance. So then I'm getting ready to leave, and I said, "Oh, how much they pay?" And he said 15. I said 15. And I'm thinking an hour. I'm like, cool. Back then, that would have been crazy. I'm like, okay. And then something hit my brain, and I just you said 15 an hour? He said, no, 15,000 a year. I'm like, that ain't 30,000. So I'm like, jeez. All right, cool. So anyway, because I wanted the insurance. I wanted to make sure if my kids got sick, at least I could do that, and I'll get another job. This is just temporary.
He was worried about insurance and a bagel.
That's it. And the bagel I had to pay for myself. So yeah. So I wanted to make sure my kids had insurance. So I took the job. Every time I tried to leave the VA, I either got promoted or the job that I really wanted, I got denied for somewhere else. And it was like somehow it was just that plan. Me and my first wife, we ended up divorcing. Ended up meeting my second wife at the VA. We got married, and again kept getting promoted. And it was like, wow, must be the plan that God had that I had no clue about. However, I will tell everybody, have a plan for your life. It may not always work out the way you go, but at least I fell into my life, into my career. I fell into it, as opposed to it being planned out. Plan out your life, though. If God changes and makes some adjustments, that's great. But at least you had something to start from. So make sure you plan your life. But again, 30 some years later, the VA was good to me. I have no complaints. I was able to help a lot of veterans, and I felt great about the career I had. So, so again, it worked out. But we're going to talk about that a little bit. We're going to talk about a lot of different things. So I'm not going to keep you guys too long on this, the opening set, so to speak. We're going to have another one where we're going to actually talk about an issue.
Whoa. Slow down, sir. The people still have questions.
People still got questions. We're going to see, I'm a man of the people. So if the people got questions, I'm here for the people. Go ahead, people.
Who is this podcast for?
This podcast, which is interesting. When I first thought about this podcast was going to be for 20-somethings. However, I believe this podcast is for everybody.
Whoever needs to.
I think this podcast is going to touch you no matter where you are. In some way, I'm going to say something that's going to either uplift you, encourage you, piss you off, or motivate you. So I think this podcast is for everybody. Again, I thought it was going to be for 20-somethings, and I wanted to speak direct, and I am going to speak directly to those young folks, because I do think they have a special, they needed a special word here or there. But this is going to touch, and I think enlighten most people. So if you keep an open ear, and your mind clear, and just receive, and then digest it, and do what you want to do with it. I'm not telling anybody to do anything I say do. This is me speaking from my life experience and my wisdom that God has given me. However, you're gonna have to do more for where you are, because I don't know you personally. I'm speaking to masses. So if I had when I'm talking to my son, when I'm talking to my daughter, when I'm talking to one of my nieces or nephew, that's an individual conversation where I can give them direct information for their situation. This is more broad. So I can't necessarily answer your specific question because I don't know you. However, I believe in general, this is going to touch and move most people. So that's where we want to go.
So Man of the People made a podcast for the people. Basically,
Man of the People made a podcast. And again, this is why I'm a man of the people, not a politician.
Vote for him, no.
I'm not a preacher. I'm just that average dude that life has taught him some things. I am the least likely to be used, but at the same time, I believe I have a calling, and that calling is to help people.
So how long have you had this, or how long have you felt that you've had this calling? Because I'm people.
You are people.
I'm speaking for the people. It's not me.
Right, you people.
But one could think that you were like, oh, I'm retired. I'm super bored. Let me just start talking to the cameras because that's what old people do.
Yeah, well, and I will tell you this. I've always done it. I've done it on smaller scales. And I've mentored, I've coached, basketball, football, my kids, other teams. Even when my kids wasn't on a team, I've coached. I've mentored young people at work. I've mentored older people at work. So I've always done this. It's just been individually. Now I have an opportunity to do it on a larger scale and talk to more people. But I've always done it. I think, one of the things when I was retired and they had a little retirement ceremony for me, what was most revealing to me that made me think I need to do this more is that people talked about how I helped them or how I made them feel better. And I guess I never really thought about it on that because it's just life. You're just doing life. But if I was able to help those people who are, doing well and have their life in line for the most part, but if I was able to help them and do things for them, then why can't I continue it on a larger scale? And that's kind of where I am and why I want to do this now. I want to do it on a larger scale, be able to touch more people, not just about being bored, because I could find some other stuff to do. You know what I mean? I ain't bored. Look, I ain't bored watching TV. I'm not one of those people that work for the joy of working. I'm good watching TV and listen to some music. I'm a simple guy. I ain't that dude. People don't. Well, I be bored. I can't think of nothing. No, trust me, I ain't never bored. I'm good with me.
I go to sleep.
That's right. Me and me alone, we good people. I like it. So
people.
Yeah, so I'm good by myself and doing nothing. So I don't have to do this, and I'm not looking to do this for any other reason that I like to help people more than anything else. I do like to help people, and hopefully that this will be a help to people. And so like I said, we're gonna have some fun. We're gonna talk a little bit, and we're gonna hit some hard hitting topics. Maybe next time we talk, we'll have a couple of topics that we bring up that you'll kind of be prepared for it and give you like, hey, over the next couple of weeks we're gonna talk about this, and this. That way you'll be sure to tune in when it hits. So,
but if not, then you just tune in anyway. You gonna get what we give you. He gonna drop these jewels, this knowledge, and I'm gonna say some stuff. And it's probably not gonna really be knowledge, but it's cool. We vibing. We're here for vibes. All right? It's the vibes. Just come and vibe with us.
See, we vibing. We on.
And as a young, handsome gangster of 35 years myself, I can fully tell you that I wish that this man had pre-recorded all of his speeches as podcasts. We would have been cool. The whole world would have been cool. We would have gotten it. And I've gotten over 87,000 hours of podcast material, but nobody recorded it. So
now we're gonna record all the stuff I told him that he didn't listen to.
We basically just gonna redo.
Now at 35, he like, yo, I need that. I remember, didn't you say this at 35?
96.
Yeah, see, at 35, he catching it that it was important, but it wasn't important when he was 16 or 12 or 18 or 21. That's but at the same time, neither was things I went through and learned. I wish somebody would have told me. And like I said, we're going to delve into why no one told me. Some of it was my fault, but for the most part, it was just no one was there to tell me. But we're going to talk about that as well. So like I said, it's going to be a fun ride. We just going to have some fun. Dude, the young man on the other side, talk about being a gang. He's a sharp young fella, smart. And so it's going to be fun. So I'm looking forward to it. I hope you are. Again, I think this podcast, me, you, we're all a work in progress. And so I think one of the things that as we go through. As I'm helping you, it'll also be helping me to grow even that much more. So hopefully you'll grow, I'll grow, and we'll become better on the other end. So I'm going to wrap up now this first episode, which is the intro episode. So that's what we name it. This is the intro episode.
Intro episode.
So, and what you will hear as well, we're going to have a logo. I got my younger son working on a cool logo. And we're going to have a song that my son working on. So we're going to have some music. We're going to have, and the logo. You'll see both of those coming out real soon as well. So I'm asking you, hang in there with me. Tune in with me often.
Like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe. Whatever that means.
Whatever that means.
Yeah, wherever you're going to see this, it'll be on YouTube. It'll be a podcast, wherever they are.
Wherever you get your podcast or wherever we can figure out how to upload it.
There you go. We're going to figure it out. And then it'll be there for you. So we'll try to hit you up at least once a week, and with some new information and some great things. So, again, stay tuned. And we look forward to the interaction with you guys, interaction with each other. We like each other. It's my man. It's my first son.
My
so
guy.
Me and him, we've been vibing off each other a long time. Sometimes he was too much like me, which I had to try to get some of that out of him because it wasn't good.
Foreshadowing, in the future, I will tell you about that time he punched me in the face.
we that might be one we delete. So again, I wasn't always a good dude. I'm telling you.
Work in progress.
So again, tune in. Let's have some fun. And again, we're gonna holler at y'all real soon. And everybody, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, just don't give up. Keep working, keep moving forward, and keep looking and searching for extra information and knowledge. And you will be great. So, all right.
Once again, you're in the studio with Rob. Bye.
All right, peace.